Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first show in Theatre of Dare's 30th season. As I'm sure you know by now, our previous fall season had to be postponed to 2021. If the Earth still exists at that point, all bets are off. But rather than leave our audiences waiting, and in a passionate attempt to save our actors' sanity and livers, we have decided to adapt our season to the current COVID situation. This season marks Theatre of Dare's first foray into live streaming, and tonight we offer you a reimagining of the classic Mercury Radio Theatre tale Dracula, based on the novel by Bram Stoker, originally written by Orson Welles and John Houseman, and adapted by me. Our show takes the classic tale and flips the genders of the iconic characters to put a whole new perspective on things. And our cast has been practicing strict social distancing guidelines throughout rehearsal, so they can give this show to you articulate and unmuffled. We also have a Christmas show in the works, if you're into that kind of thing, a variety show style feature, which will be filmed in individual segments and then stitched together for a larger portion. If you're interested in this, go to our Facebook site or our website, theatreofdareobx.com, for more details. Our spring season is still on the way, but due to this virus not going away, it may happen, it may not happen. We're not so sure. So stay tuned to our Facebook site and our website, theatreofdareobx.com, for any updates. We want our 30th season to be as entertaining and safe as possible. As you've noticed, of course, tonight's show is free. Consider this our gift to you in these trying times. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. But of course, since the show is live streamed, we cannot do our classic 50-50 scholarship raffle. So if you happen to be out there with money itching in your pockets to support community theater, all you have to do is hit the donate button at the bottom of the screen there and put that itching money where it could do the most good. Our young actors are still out there, still graduating, and still going on to pursue their careers in college, and they can use our help along the way. Maybe you're the kind of person who wants to donate something but wants something back in return. Well, we got something for you too. Theatre of Dare now has merchandise, t-shirts and hoodies sporting our new appropriate 30th season logo. Simply go to our website and fill out the order form there. We have all sizes and colors to suit your demanding fan tastes. And like I said, all proceeds go towards our scholarship fund. So you're helping out the kids and showing your love for community theater all in one go. A special shout out to our sponsors who have stayed with us this season. We love you immensely. You're far too many to list here, and we'll do it at the end when the credits run. And if you happen to be out there and you like what you see and you want to throw some money at us, well, we're always taking on new sponsors. Simply go to theatreofdareobx.com, click on the support button, and find out more information there. Well, so far the scariest thing you've had to put up with is the possibility that I won't shut up. So why don't I get out of the way, and now you can enjoy DRACULESCU.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucy Westenra. I'm here tonight to bear witness to the truth of certain events which you may find it hard to believe, but I ask you to believe them. I have here certain documents, telegrams, clippings from the press of the day, memoranda, and letters in various hands. All needless matters have been eliminated. Through the history almost at variance with the possibilities of contemporary belief, they stand forth as simple fact. I present you first with excerpts from the private journal of Mina Murray.
I, Mina Murray, lawyer's clerk, article to Peter Hawkins, Esquire of Exeter, England, am writing this journal in hopes that if misfortune overtakes me, it may one day come to the eyes of those who love me. I set out from London on the last day of April to visit one of our clients in Eastern Europe. On May the 3rd, I arrived to Budapest and came after nightfall to Klausenburg, on the border of Transylvania. At Blitzritzei, there was a letter of welcome for me from one of our clients informing me that her carriage would await me at the Borgo Pass. It was signed DRACULESCU.
Bukovina! Coach for Bukovina!
The road was rough, but still we seemed to fly over it with feverish haste. When it grew dark, there seemed to be some excitement among the passengers. They kept speaking to the driver and looking at me, urging him on with a greater speed. The crazy coach rocked from its great leather springs. The mountains seemed to be coming nearer and nearer to us on either side. Coachman! Coachman, what is it? Where are we?
You are nearing your destination, young Frau. This is the Borgo Pass.
Mr. Bemir, gates mid
There are black, rolling clouds overhead, and in the air, the heavy, oppressive sense of thunder. Now we go through the pass.
The young Frau is not expected after all.
You are early tonight, my friend.
A caleche with 4 horses had pulled up beside us.
Let me help you, madame.
The coachwoman smiled, and the lamplight fell on a hard-looking mouth with red lips and sharp-looking teeth as white as ivory. We began to move. I looked back. The coach with its loads of passengers had vanished from sight. We swept into the darkness of the pass. I struck a match. It was within a few minutes of midnight. Then, a dog began to howl somewhere far down the road. The wind was rising, moaning, and whistling through the rocks. And the branches of trees crashed together as we swept along. It grew colder, and colder still, and fine, powdery snow began to fall. The baying of wolves sounded nearer and nearer, as if though they were closing round on us from every side. We kept on ascending, always ascending. The howling of wolves was growing less and less. Presently, it ceased altogether. And just then the moon broke through the black clouds, and by its light, I saw a ring of wolves around us, running alongside the carriage in silence, with white teeth and lolling red tongues, with long sinewy limbs and shaggy hair.
Welcome to my house.
I must have fallen asleep. The carriage had pulled into the courtyard of a vast ruined castle. The coachwoman was nowhere to be seen.
Welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring.
Countess DRACULESCU.
I am DRACULESCU.
Her face was strong, very strong, aquiline. The mouth was fixed and rather cruel-looking, with peculiarly sharp white teeth.
You hear them, Miss Murray.
The wolves.
The children of the night. As you say, Miss Murray, the wolves. Listen. Oh, come now. There are many things you must tell me tomorrow of England and of the estate there you have purchased for me.
Yes.
The estate is called Carfax, I believe.
Yes, that is so.
But now I will detain you no longer. You will find your room in readiness, and I advise you not to leave it during the night.
This castle is on the very edge of a terrible precipice. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. I explored. There are doors. Doors everywhere. All of them locked. The door to the great hall, the door to the courtyard. Every door in the castle is closed, bolted against me. Castle DRACULESCU is a prison. And I'm a prisoner. The next night, I could not sleep. So after a few hours, I got up in hopes to find another means of escape. Lighting my candle, I placed my mirror on the dressing table and proceeded to get dressed. I was just beginning to fasten the brooch at my throat when...
You feel rested, Miss Murray?
I had not seen her. although the reflection of the glass covered the whole room behind me. I turned to the glass again. Countess Draculaescu was close to me, and I could see her over my shoulder, but there was no reflection of her in the mirror. It was blank! I started and cut myself on the side of my neck with the brooch pin. The blood was trickling down my neck. My mirror!
The blood! The blood. Wipe the blood from your neck, Miss Murray, and take care how you cut yourself. It is more dangerous than you think in this country.
When I awoke, I found most of my possessions were gone. My passport, my notes, my letter of credit. I could find no trace of them anywhere. And my door was locked from the outside. June 20th. There is some kind of work going on in the castle. Now and then, I hear the faraway muffled sound of mattock and spade. And last night, the second of 3 dated letters which Draculaescu made me write. The second of that series which was to blot out the very traces of my existence from the earth went forth. Countess Draculaescu!
Yes, my young friend.
But what of me? When am I free? When can I leave this place?
Free? Miss Murray, you are always free. You want to leave. Would you like to leave tonight?
Yes, yes, in God's name!
My dear young friend, not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will. Come, follow me. Your door seems to be bolted. How strange. Your door is locked.
In God's name, open it!
As you will, Miss Murray. You English have a proverb which is very close to my heart. Welcome the coming, speed departing guests. Good night, Miss Murray.
Shut the door! Shut the door! Shut the door!
The door is shut, Miss Murray. I take it you will remain.
Morning, June the 30th. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. God preserve my sanity! I have never seen Countess Draculaescu by day. At sunrise, at the first cockcrow, she is gone. I don't understand these things. I only know that the wolves are baying and that she is a woman with hair on the palms of her hands, with sharp teeth and no blood in her face. She casts no shadows. She cannot be seen in a glass, and she moves like a bat across the sheer faces of the castle walls. She eats no food and is mortally afraid of the crucifix. As I write this, I hear in the courtyard the rolling of heavy wheels and cracking of whips. And there is in the passageway below a pound of heavy boxes being set down, boxes shaped like coffins. And I know what they hold. The boxes are filled with unholy earth from the chapels beneath the castle. The last box is being nailed down. And now I feel here the heavy feet trampling again. The door is shut, and the chains rattle. In the courtyard and down the rocky way, the roll of heavy wheels and the cracks of whips. Help! Help! The wagons have gone! I'm alone in the castle! I'm alone! I'm alone in the castle! I'm alone!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Westenra. Ms. Murray's journal terminates at this point. I now present into evidence a clipping dated August of that year from the Yorkshire Telegraph from my correspondence at Whitby. One of the greatest and sudden of storms on record was experienced here today. The weather has been somewhat sultry, but Saturday evening was fine. The band was playing and the piers were crowded with holidaymakers. The winds went away entirely in the evening, and there was a dead calm. There were but a few lights at sea. The only sail noticeable was a foreign schooner under full canvas that was seemingly going westward. A little after midnight came a strange sound from over the sea, and high overhead the air began to carry a strange, faint, hollow booming. Then, without warning, the tempest broke, and there, with all sail set, was the foreign schooner rushing with terrific speed towards the shore. A searchlight was turned on her, and there, lashed to the helm, was a corpse, with drooping head which swayed horribly to and fro at each motion of the ship. A moment later she crashed. Then a strange thing was seen. At the very instant she touched, a huge dog sprang up on deck from below and, running forward, jumped from the bow onto the sand and, making straight up the east cliff towards the graveyard, vanished into the night. The Coast Guard, going abroad at dawn, found the dead woman fastened to a spoke of the wheel. Tightly clutched in one hand was a crucifix. The woman must have been dead for quite 2 days. In the pocket of the dead woman's coat was found a bottle, carefully corked, containing a roll of paper. This proved to be an addendum to the ship's log. There was found on board only a small amount of cargo, and that of the most unusual nature. Apparently, the ship carried nothing but earth, common earth, packed away in wooden boxes, shaped much like coffins.
Log of the Demeter, Russian flag, Black Sea to Whitby, July 6. Finished taking in cargo, a queer cargo, boxes of earth. At noon, set sail, east wind fresh, crew, 4 hands, 2 mates, cook and myself, captain. July 11th, entered Bosporus. At dark, passed through Dardanelles. Mate reported in mornings that one of crew, Vioden, was missing.
Took Lord board watch 8 bears last night. He was relieved by Talesian, who never came back to his bunk. There's something aboard this ship.
Oh, no.
No, Captain. Last night, a tall Sin woman go up the companionway and along the deck forward and disappear. When I go to the bow, no one, and the hatchways were all closed.
July 22nd, rough weather last 3 days. All hands busy with sails. No time be frightened. Past Gibraltar and out through straits. All well. July 24th. Last night, another hand was lost. Disappeared.
Like Talesian, he came off his watch at midnight and we never see him again.
You take your watch now.
I don't take watch alone, no more!
No belai.
No more, double watch!
Double watch.
July 29th. Had single watch tonight as crew too tired to double. When morning come...
Hey! Hey, Baliki below! Baliki, where are the guns?
Baliki gone like the others.
The mate and I have agreed to go armed henceforth. July 30th. Last night. We are nearing England. Weather fine. All sails set.
Captain, the men on watch are missing. More missing.
Now only self and mate and 1 hand left to work ship. August 3rd. 2 days of fog and not a sail sighted. At midnight, I went to relieve the man at wheel, and when I got to it, I found no one there.
It's here! I know it now. I saw it! Like a woman taller and thin, ghastly pale. It was in the bows and looking out. I gave it my knife, but the knife went right through it, empty as the air.
What are you talking about?
It's here! I'll find it. It's in the hold. It's in one of those boxes of earth. I'll unscrew them one by one and see.
He is mad, stark raving mad. It's no use my trying to stop him. He can't hurt those big boxes. They are invoiced as common earth.
Ah! She's there! There! Down in the hole! I know the secret now. The sea will save me from her. It's all that's left. It's all that's left! Ah!
August 4th. I am all alone on my ship, and still the fog. I dare not go below. I dare not leave the helm. So here all night I stayed. And in the dimness of the night I saw it. I saw her. God forgive me, but the mate was right to jump overboard. It was better to die like a sailor in the blue water. But I am captain, and I must not leave my ship. I have tied my hands to the wheel. When my strength begins to fail, and along with them I shall tie that which it dare not touch, my crucifix. I am growing weaker, and the night is coming on. God and the Blessed Virgin help a poor ignorant soul trying to do her duty.
Telegram. Westenra, Purfleet, to Van Helsing, Amsterdam. Arthur Seward in alarming condition. Cannot diagnose. Come at once. Westenra.
Telegram, Van Helsing, Amsterdam to Westenra, Purfleet. I am on my way to you. Please arrange for me to examine your patient immediately my arrival. Van Helsing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now explain that 6 months before the events recorded here, I'd become engaged to a young man, Arthur Seward. We were to be married in the spring. My old teacher, Professor Van Helsing, arrived at 4 the next afternoon. I took her at once to Arthur's house. He lay in his bed asleep. He was ghastly, chalkily pale. The red had seemed to have gone from even his lips and gums, and the bones of his face stood out.
Young sir is bad, very bad. He must have blood or he will die. He is not anemic. The qualitative analysis of his blood is quite normal condition. It is strange. I do not like to think how strange. Look, my God, his throat! Look!
The high collar that he always wore dragged down a little and showed a red mark on his throat. Just over the external jugular vein were 2 punctures, not large, but not wholesome looking. The edges were white and worn looking. Well, what is it, Professor? What's wrong with him? Speak frankly, you can tell me the worst.
I wish I could, Westenra. I wish I could, but I do not dare.
But won't you tell me anything?
I will tell you this. Your young man is in a danger greater than death. You must believe me. If you leave him for 1 moment and harm befalls, you will not sleep easy thereafter.
September 8th. I sat up all night with Arthur.
Lucy, I'm afraid.
My dear, you can sleep tonight. Nothing can harm you, because I'm here, and I promise, at any sign of bad dreams, if I see anything, I'll wake you at once.
You will? Will you really? Then I'll sleep.
I sat all night by his bedside. He did not wake once during the night, although the bowels or a bat or something slapped almost angrily against the window pane. September 11th. Still quoting from my private journals. This time I received a message from Purfleet. It read, 10:20 p.m., St. John's Hospital. Serious complications, case 891. Your immediate presence in London imperative. I had no choice. Sometime later, a paper was found among Arthur Seward's belongings.
I write this and leave it to be seen so that no one may get into trouble from me. I went to bed as usual, taking care that the window was closed, as Dr. Van Helsing had instructed. About 2 in the morning, I was awakened. I went to the door. I called out, "Lucy! Lucy!" But there is no answer. Something's broken the window. I'm in the room alone. I dare not go out. The house seems to be empty. The air full of specks, floating, circling in the draught from the window. The light, it burns blue, dim. What am I to do? Something very sweet and very bitter all around me, like I'm sinking into deep water. There's singing in my ears.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
September 12th. Late. Only resolution and habit can let me make an entry tonight. We found him sprawled on the floor, and there was a draught in the room from the broken window. The throat was bare, showing the 2 wounds looking horribly white and mangled.
We are too late, my friend. We have failed. God's will be done.
He is dying?
Yes, he's dying. Stay beside him. It will make much difference, mark me, whether he dies conscious or in his sleep.
was late in the afternoon before he opened his eyes.
Lucy, oh my love, I'm so glad that you've come.
I took his hand and knelt beside him. His breath came and went like a tired, peaceful child. And then the light from the setting sun fell on his face. And then, insensibly, a strange change came over him. His eyes grew suddenly dull and hard. His breathing was heavy, his mouth open, and the pale gums drawn back made the teeth look large and sharp.
Lucy, ah, my love, I'm so glad that you've come. Kiss me. Bend down and kiss me!
Run for your life! Run for your living soul and his! He's dead.
Poor man. Lie in peace at last. The end.
Not so. It is only the beginning. Wait and see.
Extra special, Kensington Horror!
Westminster Gazette, September 25th. A Hampstead mystery. The Kensington Horror and the Men in Black are vividly recalled to mind by a series of events that have taken place recently in the neighborhood of Hampstead. Several cases have occurred of young children straying from home or failing to return from playing on the heath. In all of these cases, the children have given as their excuse that they have been with a handsome man who offered them chocolates. In each case, the child was found to be slightly torn or wounded in the throat. The wound seems such as to be made by a rat or possibly a small dog.
Extra special, Hampstead Horror. Read about the handsome man, extra special.
The Hampstead Horror. Another child injured by the handsome man. We have just received intelligence that another child, missed last night, was only discovered late in the morning. It has the same tiny wound in the throat. Well, Westenra, what do you think of that? You mean to tell me, my friend, that you still have no suspicions as to what poor Arthur died of?
Nervous prostration following on great loss or waste of blood.
And how was the blood lost or wasted? You are a clever woman, my friend, and a good doctor. But you do not believe that there are things that you cannot understand. You are wrong, Westenra. Are you aware of all the mysteries of life and death? Can you tell me why in the pampas there are bats that come at night and open the veins of cattle and horses, and suck dry those veins, How on some islands of the western seas there are bats, which hang on trees all day, and then when the sailors sleep on deck because it is hot, sweep down on them, and then in the morning are found dead men, as white as Mr. Arthur was?
I understand none of those things.
After tonight, Westenra, if you dare to come with me, perhaps then you will understand.
September 29th, before dawn. Now it is done, and I would sooner die 1,000 deaths than to live again what I did this night.
We will spend the night, you and I, here in this churchyard where Mr. Arthur is buried. We enter the tomb.
And then?
We open the coffin. You shall yet be convinced.
Take care, Van Helsing!
Mr. Arthur is dead, is it not so? Then there can be no wrong to him. But if he's not dead...
With some difficulty, we found the Seward tomb. I took up my place behind a yew tree on one side of the tomb, Van Helsing on the other. I was chilled and frightened. Suddenly I saw something moving between the two yew trees, a dim, dark figure which held something at its breast. The figure stopped. I could not see the face, for it was bent down over what I saw to be a fair-haired child. There was a sharp, little cry, such as a child gives in sleep, or a dog as it lies before the fire and dreams. And then the thing saw us. He drew back with an angry snarl. His handsome, blood-stained mouth grew to an open square. If ever a face meant death, I saw it at that moment. And then suddenly he turned and vanished in the direction of the tomb.
The child is unharmed. We leave him in a safe place where the police find him. There's more to do. Come!
Now we're in the tomb. There in the coffin the thing lay, like a nightmare of Arthur. The pointed teeth, the blood-stained mouth. Van Helsing never looked up. From her bag she took out a book, her operating knife, a heavy hammer, and a round wooden stake, 2 or 3 inches thick, sharpened to a fine point and hardened over fire.
Westenra, the life of this unhappy man has just begun. Then he becomes what you call undead. There comes with the change the curse of immortality. He cannot die, but must go on age after age, adding new victims. Because all that die from the preying of the undead become themselves undead and prey on others. So the circle goes on, ever widening, as of the ripples from a stone thrown into the water. But if this man, this undead, be made to rest as true dead, then the soul of the poor man whom we love should be again free.
Tell me, what am I to do?
Take this stake in your left hand, the hammer in your right.
Yes.
Place the point over the heart.
Here?
Then I begin the prayer for the dead. In God's name, strike. Are you ready? Now, Domine de Sapriste.
On the morning of July 11th, a woman was found on the border of Transylvania. She talked wildly of wolves and boxes of earth and blood. She gave her name as Mina Murray. In a hospital at Klausenberg, she improved sufficiently to make possible her removal to England. I'm still quoting from my own personal papers. But then her condition remained so serious that she was committed for observation to a private ward in my hospital at Purfleet. Here she did so well that in 3 weeks she was completely recovered. It was during this time that her husband, Jonathan Murray, brought to the attention of Dr. Van Helsing and myself the journal that his wife had kept while the prisoner in a castle of a certain Countess DRACULESCU in Transylvania. I have before me the record of a meeting that took place in my study in Purfleet, transcribed by Jonathan Murray.
October 1st. Meeting again, 10 after 8. Mina next to me, Dr. Westrana afterwards, and Dr. Van Helsing at the head of the table.
My friends, there are such things as vampires. Had I known at first what now I know, one so precious a life would have been spared for the many of us who love him. The vampire which is amongst us is herself so strong that she can direct all the elements, the storm, the fog, the thunder. She can command all the meaner things, the moth and bat, the owl, the fox, and the wolf. How then are we to begin our stride to destroy her? How shall we find her place? And having found it, how can we destroy? My friends, it is a terrible task that we undertake. To fail here is not mere life or death. If we fail, we become as her, foul things of the night. What do you say?
I answer for myself.
Come near.
I'm with you.
The professor laid a small golden crucifix on the table. We took hands and our solemn pact was made.
My friends, we too are not without strength. The vampire flourishes on the blood of the living. Without this, she cannot live. She throws no shadow. She makes no reflection in a mirror. She can transform herself to a wolf, to a bat. She can come on moonlight rays as elemental dust. She can see in the dark. She can do all these things. Yet she is not free. Her power ceases at the coming of the day. Then, until night, she must remain in the shape in which she finds herself. And, except in her coffin home, in those earth boxes, she cannot rest. When we can confine her in her coffin, then, my friends, if we obey what we know, we will destroy her.
At that moment, something slapped wildly against the window. Then,
Did you hit it?
I don't know.
we looked out of the window. Against the black sky, you could see nothing.
Data are now positioned. From the Countess's castle in Transylvania to Whitby came 50 boxes of earth. All of these, to our certain knowledge, were delivered at Carfax. Recently, 12 of these boxes have been removed. First step, Ascertain whether all the rest remain in the deserted house next door, or whether any more have been removed. We must break each of these boxes and sterilize the earth with holy water, so she can no longer seek safety in it. And we must hurry.
The events of the next few days are described in Mina Murray's journal.
October 2nd, 5 a.m. Just returned from the empty house, left Jonathan here at home. Well, we've done our work at Carfax. The place was filthy, the air stagnant and foul, and alive with rats. We counted the boxes. Only 38 of them, and over each one of them the professor went through her same mysterious work. It was dawn when we got back. I found Jonathan asleep. He looked paler than usual.
October 2nd. Soon after they left, I fell asleep. I remember hearing the sudden barking of the dogs, and then it was silent. I got up and looked out of the window. There was a thin streak of white mist moving across the grass along the wall of the house. It dawned on me that the air in the room was heavy, dank, and cold. The gaslight came only like a tiny red spark in the fog. I could see through my eyelids. The mist grew thicker and thicker. Then, as I looked, the spark divided and seemed to shine on me through the fog like two red eyes.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, blood of my blood.
October 2nd, 8 p.m. We are on the track. 12 boxes were delivered to an empty house at 337 Piccadilly.
My dear friends, until the sun sets tonight, Draculescu must retain whatever form she now has. We have this day to hunt out all her lairs and sterilize them. Then she will have no place she can move and hide. But we have only until sunset.
The house in Piccadilly was empty, like the one at Purfleet, the same sickening smell as in the air. On the table, we found a clothes brush, a brush and a comb, and a basin, the latter containing dirty water which was reddened as if with blood.
The boxes are back here. 8, 9, 10, 11.
Only 11?
There's a 12th box somewhere.
Ladies, it is after 6. The sun is setting. We've no time to lose. She will return at any moment. Open the boxes.
Quiet!
Listen. Here it is. It is she.
The window!
You waste your bullets, ladies. You think you baffle me. With your pale faces all in a row like sheep at a butcher's. You think you have left me without a place to rest. But I have more. And time is on my side. The one you love is mine already. I have known him. Already my mark is upon his throat. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. He is with me always over land or sea.
October 4th, morning. Another meeting at the study at Purfleet.
We must find that last remaining box. Ladies, we must find it. As long as that earth exists and pure, as long as there remains one place of refuge for Draculescu, there is no safety and no peace for any soul in England.
And for the undead, never peace so long as she lives. Blood of my blood, blood of my blood.
Jonathan!
How did you know that?
Quiet, quiet!
With me always over land and sea.
Jonathan, darling, how did you know that Draculescu said
I
those...
don't know. The words just came. Strange. There are times when somehow I feel like that I am with her.
At sunset?
Yes, just as the sun sets. And again at sunrise. Dr. Van Helsing, if at those times you...
Have you the courage?
The courage for what? What do you mean?
Dr. Van Helsing here will question me.
I will question him, yes, in a state of hypnosis. The one you love is already mine, she said. He is with me always, over land or sea. Ah, Countess Draculescu, perhaps he will betray you if he is really with you, this one we love. Who knows, if he is really with you over land or sea.
Blood of my blood.
Jonathan,
Yes?
answer me, Jonathan. Are you with her?
Yes, I am with her.
Where are you?
I do not know. It is all dark.
What do you hear?
The lapping of water. I can hear it on the outside.
Then you are on a ship.
Yes.
What else do you hear?
There is the creaking of an anchor chain. Still, oh so still. It is like death. It is like death.
Here is a report from the Madsen Peabody, shipbrokers, dated October 5th. According to Lloyd's lists, the only sailing ship that left for the Black Sea yesterday was the Tsarina Katrina bound for Varna. Somehow, before she sailed, a woman came alongside, all in black, driving a cart with a great box in it. This she lifted down single-handed and carried below. No one remembers having seen her after that. A heavy mist came up over Doolittle Dock until sailing time. The rest of London Harbor remained completely clear.
Our plans are made. The average sailing time from London to the Black Sea is 3 weeks. We can travel over land to the same place in 3 days. We shall be there waiting for her when she arrives.
October 15th. Arrived in Varna about 5 o'clock. Jonathan feels stronger. Every morning before sunrise and just before sunset, he speaks to Van Helsing in a trance.
Are you with her, Jonathan? Tell me, are you with her?
I am with her.
What can you see?
Nothing. All is dark.
What can you hear?
I can hear the waves lapping against the ship and the water rushing by. The wind is high. I can hear it in the shrouds and the splash of foam.
So the Tsarina Katrina is still at sea, hastily to Varna. The Countess cannot cross running water, so she cannot leave the ship without being observed.
What do you hear, Jonathan?
Lapping waves and rushing water. Darkness. Darkness.
A whole week of waiting. Dated telegram from Lloyd.
Not yet reported.
Not yet reported.
Not yet reported.
Not yet reported.
Rushing water. Rushing water. Creeping mist. Darkness. Darkness and wind.
October 24th. Telegram. Lloyd's, London to Murray. Tsarina Katrina reported this morning from Dardanelles.
Lloyd's, London to Murray. October 28th. Tsarina Katrina in heavy fog. Reported entering Galatz Harbor at 1 o'clock today.
Galatz. Galatz is 38 hours from here, and the first train for Galatz leaves at 6:30 tomorrow morning. My friends, we have lost.
I am with you. I can see nothing. Nothing. I can hear men's voices calling in the roar and the prick of the wind. I can feel the air blowing.
October 29th, evening. We are due between 2 and 3 in the morning, but already at Bucharest we are 3 hours late.
What's going on? I feel something pass me like a cold wind. I can hear far-off sounds, confused sounds, as of men talking in strange tongues, fierce, falling water, and the howling of wolves. There is another sound. How queer sound, like...
Like what? Speak, Jonathan. Speak, I command you. I command you to speak.
Arrived in Galatz. Saw the captain of the Tsarina Katrina.
Welcome aboard. We are over an hour before sun-up. We received a box for a party of the name DRACULESCU. Had her papers all right. Emma Hildesheim, her name was.
Ms. Hildesheim,
Ja,
you unloaded a box yesterday.
I got from Kyloff by order. Kyloff.
Mr. Kyloff.
Oh, no. This morning they find him dead inside the churchyard of St. Peter. They find him dead with his throat torn open.
October 30th, evening.
There are 2 ways in which DRACULESCU can get back to her own place, by land or by water.
We've examined the map and found the most likely river is the Seraph.
You and I, Westerna, will charter steam launch and follow her up the river. Van Helsing and Jonathan will take the train to Veresti from there.
From there, we shall go in the track where Murray went to Bistritza over to Borgo. If you have not caught her before, we shall be meeting DRACULESCU there.
October 31st. We arrived at Veresti at noon. Van Helsing and I brought the carriage here. We start in an hour. Our enemy is still on the river.
October 31st. We can earn some good speed up the river at night. There's plenty of water and the banks are wide apart.
November 1st, evening. No news all day. We hear that a big boat went up the river before us, going at more than usual speed.
November 4th. All day driving. The country gets wilder as we go. By morning we should reach the Borgo Pass.
November the 4th, evening. We've left the launch, we've got horses, and we follow on the trail along the river. We are armed. Look! Quick, there they are now, heading west! Through the dawn, we could see some Slovaks some miles before us, dashing along the river with their wagon. On it was a great box.
Late in the afternoon, we leave the Borgo Pass.
Van Helsing, look! Look!
We can see a long way all around, far off beyond the white waste of snow like a black ribbon curling between us and the river. Not far off came a group of men, mounted Slovaks riding along. In the midst of them was a wagon that swept from side to side. On the wagon was a great box.
Look!
We see 2 horses following fast, coming up from the south, Westenra and Murray. The Slovaks with their heavy wagons are losing their ground. Now they must be not more than a mile behind. Now the wagon is quite closer. We can see the great box laying gravely. Now they are almost upon us. Now has happened a strange thing. The wagon smashed into a great rock buried in the snow, lost its front wheel and turned over on its side, jammed against the stone. The horses tore loose from their tracers and bolted, and the Slovaks scattered and vanished after them. Then silence. Silence like comes after, ringing a bell.
Look! Her face!
It is DRACULESCU, sprawled out stiff and twisted in the smear of her own unholy earth. The box, in falling, has emptied the dirt onto the snow. Her face is old-looking. The skin is like paper. Dr. Westenra, there is no time. Look at the sun.
Sunset!
In 1 minute it is sunset, and she is forever lost to us. Have you the stake of wood and the hammer?
Yes.
Now, Westenra, pray for us. Kneel down and pray.
Our Father who art in heaven.
Murray, the stake of wood over her heart. Be not afraid, Murray. Do not look into her eyes. The hammer. Now, Murray, strike! Strike!
Flesh, flesh of my flesh, guilt of my guilt, death of my death, speak and be manifest in the instant of your mistress's peril. Elements of darkness, rain, evil wind, mist and mold and tempest, strike!
The others couldn't, but somehow I could hear her speaking. Behind her eyes!
Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh, death of my death, dead and undead. The hand of the living is over your mistress. Console me, my children. This instant is no longer than the space between 2 heartbeats. But the night is not here, and I am lonely. Come to your mistress, my children. Beguile her now in the instant of her peril. Beguile her with the sounds of your names. Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh. claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh.
Strike, Mina! Strike!
There is one very dear to me who has not answered. My love. Jonathan, there is less than a minute between me and the night. You must speak for me. You must speak with my heart.
Give them to me. Mina, give them to me. Give me the stick of wood and the hammer.
Murray!
I shall never forget that moment. The look on poor Jonathan's face as he stood there, the angry scar standing out on his throat, his eyes like living coals in the last red of the sunset. He had torn the stake and the hammer out of my hands with the strength of an animal.
Jonathan, do you know what you have done, man? Do you know what you have done to us? You have released her. The evil is free.
Look, the sun! As we looked down at Draculescu, the eyes saw the sinking sun, and the hate in them turned to triumph.
Flesh of my flesh. Come to me, my love. Come into the night and the darkness. You have served me well, my love, my husband, my...
Ladies and gentlemen, all the evidence is now before you. I've added nothing, and to the best of my knowledge, I've omitted nothing that might help to throw light upon the extraordinary events of the year 1891, which culminated on that terrible evening in the Borgo Pass. There remains only this one last report.
When Jonathan Murray seized the stake and hammer from his wife, I believe he was under some form of hypnosis. He himself remembers nothing. But whatever influence was at work on him, he must at the last moment have rejected it. For at the exact instant the sun disappeared, it was Jonathan Murray who drove the stake through the heart of the thing that called itself DRACULESCU. At that same instant, even as we looked, the wound on the side of his throat was no more. As for DRACULESCU, before the screams of the creature had died from our ears, the whole body crumbled into dust and passed from our sight. In the final moment of dissolution, there was in the face a look of peace, such as I could never have imagined, might have rested there.
To the Frankenstone. I said the Frankenstone. Yeah, the Frankenstone. Also step a crack into the Frankenstein stone. The Frankenstone. Oh, you stomping Franks. Yeah, the Frankenstone. Moving and going to the Frankenstein stone.
Support your local community theater wherever you are.